What's going on, everybody? It's segment 2 on Fantastic Friday with the Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time. Mike, are you ready for this one?
I am actually. I'm a little nervous. You scare me sometimes.
So I'm sitting here like last night, family's asleep, and I'm sitting there just thinking about the business, pondering the business, thinking about, what the last year and a half has been like, and just really in that time of self-reflection, what is really different over the last year and a half for me dealing with this awesomeness of a health crisis and public health crisis? What's been the biggest difference for me over the last, 18 months being a landlord? So I know what my answer was, but I'd love to hear from you. You've been doing this for 20 years, a little bit longer than I have. And, what's been the biggest difference for you over the last 18 months?
Yeah, with this question, at least for me, I have to answer it in two phases, right? Because for me, it breaks down to the first 6 months and the last 6 months. The first 6 months were very, frankly, nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time, but never been through a crisis like this before. I've invested in a market with high unemployment and other things. So what happened out of it, I had seen, but I had never been through this. I did not know what to expect. Frankly, we prepared for the worst. We had some pretty, that first 90 days, we just didn't know. So it was nerve-wracking. That's for sure. We gave, I don't know what the right word is. We gave away or credited or whatever the right thing is, more money in the first 6 months than we'd ever done, right? We were really doing what hopefully people at One Rental at a Time would expect from Olivia and I is we bent over backwards and then some, right? So that was really the first 6 months, was making sure, we were going to be fine. We were ready for the worst case, and we were helping we helped everybody we could and then some. So that was the first 6 months. I'll stop there, maybe let you ask questions before I talk about the last 6 months.
Yeah. So in that first 6 months, that was the real wild card of this, because you had no idea, you saw markets tanking. You had no idea what the government was going to do to resolve that. You saw a bunch of people, or a bunch of the shutdown, literally
never thought the US economy could shut down. What the hell?
And all of a sudden, because renters are a lion's share of the part of the economy that was shut down.
Yeah, of course.
You look at that and you say, holy cow, the government's going to have to do something. They literally have no money, and we're also going to have to do something ourselves as well.
Yeah, we were helping folks before. Was it called the CARES Act?
Yes. Yeah, we were too. Yeah.
Yeah, we had already started, frankly, doing the right thing.
Yep.
Because I don't know how to say this right. I don't trust the government. I don't want the government in my business. So we were already doing the right things.
Yep.
Again, before the CARES Act was created. And again, it didn't feel great on the financial side, but it was the right thing to do as human beings. So that's more important, I guess.
No, I agree. I think that often, the mistake that gets made is that, government intervention, often they are using a sledgehammer when a scalpel is preferred.
Oh, without question.
And they often stay far too long at the party, way too long.
Well, the people get addicted to
free. Sure. Yep. Yeah, totally agree. And so did that change any of the way that you interacted with your management company? Did it change? Because did you have units that were actually, people actually choosing to move out, or were you steady state where, pretty much everybody just kind of locked down and locked in place and no one moved?
Yeah. So it's funny. So we did have a conversation. We identified 10 or 20 folks that were high risk, right? Because again, we had their job employment history. But the big thing for us is we started getting a daily report, right? We've been with our property manager for so long. To say that we don't audit the numbers as much as we used to is a gross understatement. However, what we started getting, and I still get to this day, is a daily rent collection report. And we compare it, today's date, whatever it is, August 6th, we compare it with July 6th, right? And then we'll get August 7th and we'll compare with July 7th. So we started getting a daily report almost immediately. And what we saw probably after the first 100 or 120 days is, while we had a couple of issues, it was not anywhere near our oh my God number.
Yeah.
And it was actually turned out to be pretty high rent collection. The other thing that we did during that time period is we didn't raise rents anywhere.
Yep.
We refused to do that again. This is pre-CARES Act. We didn't raise rents for almost a year. If somebody left and it was vacant,
Yes.
we raised rents, but we
Yep.
didn't raise rents on any tenants because, again, it wasn't the time to do that.
Nope.
And in California, that's a real problem because we have rent control. So a lost year of rent growth is really
A big deal.
It's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But it's just not the thing to do when people are hurting. So we didn't. And that's, so we got more reports. We got really granular. We got granular like we hadn't in probably 5 years, maybe 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And really being granular allowed us to get more comfortable, right? It had us identify,
Sure.
okay, that's a problem, but the big scheme of thing, we're going to be okay. So it was being granular day by day was very comforting.
So you don't have to answer this question because I will answer it just because, I actually took the time, did the numbers, but
Okay.
do you have an idea ballpark on what the last year and a half has cost?
Cost in what regards? Via
So-
rent, loss of rent?
Yeah,
meaning cost?
loss of rent. I mean, because we can't
Evictions.
bill for loss of sleep.
Yeah.
So
no. Probably, I haven't done the math.
Yep.
I had a couple of tenants who are now out that had pretty big balances.
Mhm.
If I had to put a range, I would say 40 to 50.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm probably in that 20 to 30K bucket. I went through a bunch of the numbers, but not everything. And the funny thing was for us, it was really a lion's share was to a specific tenant or two.
Yeah. I think let's say 2 tenants make up more than 50% of that.
Yep, exactly. Yep. It's precisely it. Yep. It's precisely it. So that was kind of the first 6 months. What about that last 6 months? Now, how do you feel about where we're at?
The last 6 months, obviously now it's been going on, let's call it 18 months or 14 months, whatever it's been. Rent collections are up. They've stayed pretty steady. Once we got rid of the 2 people playing games, i.e., hey, you can't touch me, cancel rent's a thing,
Yeah.
you're the big bad landlord. Once those got gone for other lease violations, it's really not that bad. We have a couple of tenants that are hit and miss. We've structured weekly payments with a couple. That's just how they're paid. So again, we're being more flexible today than we've ever been.
Mhm.
But once we got rid of the bad apples, it really hasn't been that much different, frankly.
Now in California, your rent control capped at 6% increase,
5% plus inflation.
5% plus, well, at 5.1% inflation. It might be 10.1, right?
Yeah, there you go. That's the math.
So I looked at it, and for us, on our portfolio, we probably raised rents because we had a number of people finally transition out, and that was fine.
Yeah.
That was the point. Because for us, we do a lot of student housing. And so, we actually phased out of that last year. We wanted to get back into students more because last year we were more at risk that college would just say, go home. And then what were they going to do? So we actually pivoted last year with most of our properties and got out of student and more focused on non-student and just marketed differently. So we were bringing in different groups of folks. But yeah, if I had to look at it, I think overall on the entire portfolio, we're probably up 7% on the entire portfolio overall in rents. So we're going to make 7% more this year than we did last year on the same list of properties.
And your debt structure stayed fixed.
And the debt structure actually is drastically improved. The debt structure, the debt structure on probably out of 28, the debt structure is not fixed now, only on 7 properties. So only on 7 is it not fixed. And even on those 7 that it's not fixed, I'm locked in at 375 for 5 more years.
Yeah, you've got what you can get. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
and then all the other stuff is now the entire rest of that list is all fixed residential.
Pretty. I like it.
It is pretty well, and that's why I was talking about too, is that we really prepped, right? And we really were in position for, we weren't thinking so much. The behavior that we had was the same that you would do if you were preparing for a crash, which is capture whatever value you can out of your property. If those rates are low, grab as much of that, low cost money as you possibly can. The only other thing that you do really is if you know a crash is coming or really believe a crash is coming, then you completely stop buying. That's the only difference really, is you what else do you think?
You never stop buying. If you find a great deal, and again, I say this as somebody who
I don't disagree with you.
Bought the whole way down, but maybe you only buy great deals, right? You don't buy good, right?
So if you had conviction, right? If you believed, if you were in the camps that these other people who don't do the work every day and you were just reading headlines, right? Like they do. Because I call it story time on YouTube, where they sit down and they read to me.
Story time. Oh,
and I'm like,
read me a fairy tale.
I was like, where's the big bad wolf? I know it's going to come and get me. But as they're having their story time, if you're only listening to those headlines, only digesting those headlines, and you really thought a 40% crash were coming, like really, truly, like you're convicted just as much as I am that it's really, truly going to be a slowdown. But that's really is really a slowdown. So if you felt had the same level of conviction to a 30% crash in the next 12 months, would you still buy a great deal?
So again, I believe that real estate markets have been doing this for a while, don't operate in unison.
Yep.
So let's just say I saw 2000, and again, people, God damn, fuck. Crashes in single family homes take time.
Yeah, they do.
What people don't realize is the last crash was 5 years in the making.
That's right.
So talking about a crash like it's a car crash is idiotic. It doesn't happen that fast. It's a slow bleed. So let's just assume we were at the top of the market today, and let's just use real numbers. Let's assume the average home is 400 grand and it will be 200 grand in 5 years, right? That's a real estate crash. It's not the stock market. It's not cryptocurrency. It doesn't happen in a whisper, a minute, a week, a month, or even a year. Okay, you freaking people. But let's just say it's going to happen 400 to 200. What do we do? First off, I've lived through that, and we are buy and hold landlords. And the last time that occurred, because people will unfortunately lose their homes. That happens. That's right. Because a recession is likely happen, and probably a depression is likely happen to go from 400 to 200. Rental units go up. Rents go up as people unfortunately lose homes. So the portfolio that we have now will be fine. All the debt structure, we've taken great care to be ready and fixed. More top line equals more bottom line. So what we have. We don't look at our net worth. If I never had to fill out a financial statement, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. Agreed. It's a fake number anyway. It means absolutely nothing. But we care about cash flow, right? For true bottom line cash flow. So unfortunately, if the real estate market went from 400 to 200, our cash flow would go up, and a lot of people would be hurt. It would suck. And then if I did see it coming, I would be ready. I would probably start buying I would be buying Boardwalk and Park Place and Marvin Gardens, to use the Monopoly board. I would be getting ready to buy the great assets because they go on sale. And frankly, they fall faster because those people are usually impacted, and the rat race got them. The stuff at the bottom, the affordable stuff, it falls, but not nearly as much. That's what you need to understand. This affordable stuff is investor, owner, Wall Street owned. That stuff won't fall very much, but the high end, it will fall faster because they got to get out of their debt structure. So I would probably be getting ready to upgrade quality.
And so if that were, with your Wednesdays with Anna Kelly, she has been a purchaser of beachfront property that she Airbnbs.
Oh, I know. Right? $1 million beachfront property. Gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hello.
Yeah. And here's the crazy thing. So for us, we have 17 miles of coastline in New Hampshire. We also looked at Maine a little bit. But those prices got nuts.
Yeah, I would be looking at that. That's what I mean by Class A.
Yeah.
I would be looking at Class A because, again, I've been doing this a long time.
Yep.
If we went into a recession that led to a depression in real estate prices, people who have second homes and vacation homes and all of these other things, they will be trimming fast.
Or stock portfolios that are now half.
Yeah, 401ks or 201ks or
Yep.
101ks or whatever. People are going to be looking to slash and ultimately probably stop paying, which means banks would foreclose, the banks would get it, and we would just, again, I'm preparing, I'm ready. Believe me, Olivia and I would love to upgrade class of single family homes. So that's what we would do. I don't see it coming, but hey, if you want to play the what if game, I'm game.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I always look at it just because it's like, hopefully I dream to get that oceanfront house, on New Hampshire's coastline, even though the water's too cold. I like the noise.
Yeah, you can look at it. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Look, there's water out there.
What? There's water. They're like, don't you go swimming? No.
No,
In the ocean?
it's too cold.
Nuts?
Yeah,
Freezing.
I might dip my toe in it once in a while. I touch the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly. I'll let it roll on my feet. That's about it.
I'll roll up my pant leg. I'll get like an inch.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, it is. It is not skin friendly. Yeah.
Why are my feet so red? Because they're frozen, you dumbass.
Exactly. It's chilly. So, Mike, thanks so much for your thoughts on this. So where can everyone find you?
One rental at a time. If you go to your Google search bar, type in one rental at a time, you should see YouTube, books, Instagram, website, all that stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. And guys, as always, we spend a ton of time coming up with great topics, great ideas to kind of talk through so you can kind of see where our heads are at. As you see, even if the Titanic's taking on water, Mike is still buying houses with waterfront views of the Titanic going down. It's all
Absolutely.
good. I love it. And so we took a ton of time to put into this and make sure that you subscribe. We'd love to have you be a part of our fantastic, fabulous Fridays. Mike, thanks so much again. And we'll talk about the amazing segment 3.
You got it.
All right. Thanks, Mike.